What's up, everyone? You're on the Low Ball Pod. He's Lucas. I'm Owen, and we're back for a pretty fun episode today. I'm pretty excited about what we got going. We will be doing a current NBA players draft. We'll get into the criteria for that in a little, but how you doing, Lucas? What's up with you, bro?
Doing good, man. As always, happy to be back here with you, and looking forward to diving into some NBA content in a time where it's a lot drier, at least in that kind of world at the moment. I'm looking for that to heat up in the next month or so as we get closer to the season. But I think it's an appropriate switch up. We've covered a lot of NFL content recently, and it's been a great time. But the NBA is still my favorite league. Basketball is my favorite sport, so the always going to have no problem at all covering this side of the coin here. But yeah, before we get into that, I know, of course, we covered most of the week one action, and since then there has been, I believe, two other games. I know the Bears game we didn't really get to cover too much, and then a couple nights ago we had the Packers and the Commanders play in another pretty awesome game. You have any takeaways from those games before we hop into this NBA content here?
Yeah, I guess taking a look at the Monday night game first, really a tale of two halves, or like three quarters and one quarter. Because the Vikings just come screaming back at the end. Things looked really rough for them at the beginning, specifically in the JJ McCarthy department, who I know I wasn't particularly high on going in, and I looked pretty vindicated there for a while, but credit to him, he really pieced stuff together, and I think it just goes to show that with this Vikings team, like, you really just need competent quarterback play, and they have just such an amazing Super Bowl caliber roster that can elevate the team. For the Bears, things started out great, like especially that first drive.
First
Like,
drive looked amazing, man.
yeah, Caleb goes 10 for 10 to start the game. Like,
A rushing touchdown.
yeah, like they're getting under center. Ben Johnson has like beautiful script. Doesn't seem like they're leaving too much up for chance, really. It's just seems like a pretty well-oiled machine. And just like it's kind of interesting to see that just slowly, like, less and less structure and then kind of more and more mental mistakes on Caleb's part. You see him start to miss some passes, just kind of a little high all over the place. He just kind of feels like he loses focus a little, and you could see those nerves from rookie year Caleb kind of jump back in. And yeah, the game just kind of gets out of their control. The Bears defense too started out pretty dominant early, rattling JJ McCarthy, and they faded down the stretch too. So a little worrisome if you're the Bears, but I thought there were some good flashes in there. What do you think from them?
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny, like, because Caleb came out looking so elite and McCarthy came out looking so dismantled, and then they kind of just swapped in the second half. Um, but at the end of the day, I know it was a pretty rough second half from Chicago, but there are still some positive takeaways from this game, at least. They spread the ball around, and I mean, DeAndre Swift had a couple decent runs, but they really didn't get the run game going as much as I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure they wanted to. Wonder if we're going to see a little more, I don't know, DJ Moore maybe a little bit more in the backfield, something like that to spice things up. Yeah, I mean, I still trust Ben Johnson at the end of the day. It was his first game with Caleb, and there were still some awesome flashes in there. So, yeah, I mean, it was a rough loss. Bears are no strangers to that, but better days ahead, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I think it kind of just boils down to the consistency that you're going to get from Caleb at this point. That seems like his big drawback, on the consistency of the accuracy, consistently getting through his reads, playing in structure, making the right passes. Because you can see that he does what he really flashed this game was the ability to kind of create out of structure and make some awesome plays, rolling out of the pocket, scrambling. Like, he really showed that off, I thought, pretty well. And I think it's just going to come down to how clean of an operation they can run things. But I mean, if you're Caleb, do think you gotta kind of find a way to just rein it in a bit. That was kind of the story of his rookie year too. So we at least saw, I think, a glimpse of what it could be at the beginning. You hope it carries over. And then
Exactly.
for the Vikings, you just hope that what you saw in the fourth quarter is who this team actually is, once the jitters came out. That's it's a pretty good way to wrap that game up, I'd say. Week 2 kicked off on Thursday, though, as you mentioned, and the Packers pretty much picked up right where they left off, dominating the Commanders throughout. Final score was 27-18, but it kind of felt a little more lopsided than that one. What do you think about Thursday night's action?
Yeah, that was a good game, and I feel like we can still expect some explosive fireworks to come from this Commanders offense, but it's not going to be happening against Green Bay this year for anyone. I mean, that defense is just looking beyond elite. I've heard some people already making some historical claims about that defense, and we'll see if it holds up. The offense was clicking on all cylinders as well. Still haven't really gotten that their enticing first-round pick rookie Matthew Golden going yet. But Jordan Love is clicking with pretty much everyone else. Wicks, Dobbs, a lot of Tucker Kraft. Josh Jacobs finds his way into the end zone for the 100th straight game.
Kraft was awesome, dude.
Yeah, he's an elite tight end. And if you're a Packers fan, you just have to feel really good about how this team's looking on both ends right now.
Yeah, they've handled business to the fullest extent so far. Really, stuff has looked super easy for them. And I guess we'll see if that's more a reflection of the Commanders or Lions as we're going through. But like, these are 2 of the 4 last teams standing in the NFC last year. So super impressive from them. And just, you can really see like how much a player like Micah just impacts the whole operation, everything on the field. Like, everybody gets a little better when you plug them in. We talked about this last week, but again, like, all these other guys are starting to flash. Like, Devontae Wyatt is looking like an animal coming from the inside because, you got to shift so much attention to him. Packers secondary, the young players are starting to look a lot better because obviously these quarterbacks are pretty pressured and just not able to sit back and dissect these guys maybe like they were last year. And it's just it's looking like a pretty scary unit for sure. And then that definitely affected Jaden Daniels on Thursday, who had one of the more rough games we've seen. And I know you brought up right before we went live, he is dealing with an injury now, had an MRI. He got rolled up on kind of in garbage time. So that would be a shame. But yeah, Daniels looked pretty rough in this one. The game plan around him has been kind of weird so far. They've been throwing it really short, pretty similar to last year when they were easing him in. But yeah, you're hoping that this turns into more of a downfield offense, getting Terry McLaurin involved more. The run game really wasn't able to get going either. Eckler goes down late in this one, but Krosky Merritt didn't really get anything going.
I guess maybe if they have one positive takeaway, it's a little bit of a resurgence so far for Debo.
Yeah,
I think
he's been good.
Yeah, he's had some positive moments. Did find his way into the end zone on Thursday night. And if they can get a dynamic between him and Terry going, it can still be a pretty awesome offense. And still optimistic on this team going forward. Just a tough draw in week 2. We'll see if Jaden's healthy as well.
For sure. One last note, I will say the Marshawn Lattimore deal is not looking good. He has been rough to start.
He was getting targeted like the whole first quarter. Couldn't do anything.
A lot of injuries have piled up for him. So maybe it's rust. Maybe it's, he's near 30-year-old corner. Typically you start to see a cliff come that age at that position. So it's a situation definitely to monitor. But do we want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do for this draft today? I'm super excited to get into that. Yeah, I know you mentioned at the beginning about just NBA content and stuff. And yeah, we're going to try to sprinkle in a little NBA content, especially leading up to the start of the season. I'd say once the season starts, we'll be breaking it down, giving our thoughts on, each week of what's going on across the league. I know it definitely gets a little overshadowed until like around Christmas time, but we'll be watching the new
Most definitely.
the new TNT cast switching over to ESPN. That'll be interesting to see. There's some funny storylines going along the NBA right now. The Clippers are in kind of a weird spot with
That Kawhi stuff, man. It's
yeah,
messy.
it's like a trying to get out of the salary cap, I guess, with Steve Ballmer. That'll be super interesting to keep an eye on.
Definitely.
I'm wonder if it'll affect maybe a suspension for Leonard, because that's pretty serious. That is like
Definitely.
a very, very serious.
Under the table stuff, like
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it's crazy. Um, One other thing I did just want to mention, I know free agency's cooled down like pretty much completely, and Shams, you definitely let us down there, like we've said earlier, but did just want to give one more shout out to my Knicks, man. We made a pickup yesterday that definitely made me pretty happy to see. I know he's injury riddled a lot, and maybe he's not the same player he once was, but we brought in Malcolm Brogdon yesterday, and I don't know, just a feel good pickup. I mean, another guy who we feel good given 20 minutes to off the bench as long as his body can hold it up. And I mean, he could be the best player on our bench this year, all things considered. He's someone who's won a six man of the year, and we've now added two of those this offseason, which definitely feels pretty good. Can't wait to watch some Knicks basketball this year.
yeah, I thought it was a good deal. And yeah, the league certainly has not given Brogdon the respect I think he deserves, and yeah, I think he's a very valuable addition. He was yeah, like you said, a six man when he was on my Celtics. That team made a push at the finals, so he played a huge role, and he does a lot of what you want in your backup point guard, and serviceable, plays alongside guys pretty well. So you got a lot to be excited about for this year. But
Leon Rose, take a bow, man. Thank you.
if we want to get into kind of the criteria for this draft, it's a current players NBA draft. The big thing that we want to emphasize is that we're not trying to create just like an absolute juggernaut all-star team type of thing. So our guiding limit is that you're only going to be able to take one of kind of the S tier superstar guys who we defined as Jokic, Doncic, Giannis, SGA, and we threw Wemby in there too. Because to be honest, we know that he's gonna get to that level soon. And then yeah, we're gonna try to build it out like a real NBA team. So we're gonna be able to throw some secondary kind of all-star level guys, and obviously this is gonna be a super talented team, but we're not gonna load it with all stars. From there, we're gonna try to get some connecting pieces, some elite role players, and then we're gonna build out a bench unit too. Not gonna stack that. I don't think we're gonna leave the bench unit to completely bench players,
Yeah, we
but
can go. We'll go
all
like 8 deep or so.
yeah, all kind of role player guys. Regardless, so I'm super excited to get into this one.
Yeah, man.
And yeah,
I mean, this is stuff that we've done for fun behind the scenes for years, and used to throw it up on 2K. Get a little auto draft going. We each pick our team and play each other. I mean, this is just some fun stuff for guys that love the game. So, and it gives a little insight as well for you guys to see maybe how we think about certain players, how to construct a team, and like different ways you can approach it. Because, like as you know, if you guys have followed the NBA for a while, the way the NBA team has been built has changed stylistically many times over the years. I mean, you've had the superstar-oriented teams like the LeBron Miami Heat, the 2008 Celtics. You've had the teams where they kind of just thrive on the defensive end, and that's their whole identity. The Greg Popovich Spurs dynasty. I think of the Bad Boy Pistons. I think of the 2004 Pistons, teams like that. You have the three-point focused era nowadays, which is kind of like obviously the Golden State Warriors and the 2018 Houston Rockets, offensive juggernaut type of teams like that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this, and I'm excited to get into it, man. If you want, feel free to take the first pick off the board.
you want me to take the first pick, or should we do
Yeah,
some type of way to put this up to chance or something?
yeah, if you want. I mean, there's a couple guys that I really have no preference over taking at the top. So if you want to go get your guy, you got it, man.
I can spin a quick wheel for us.
Yeah, let's do it.
Throw this in here. 50-50 chance here. Gonna share this so that everybody
It's not rigged.
everybody knows I'm a fair and just guy.
Nothing wrong with a rigged draft though, like when we got Pat Ewing.
Hey man. I mean it was a generational player. Can't say it led to generational results, but looks like you're first up here.
That's what I get for trying to be a gentleman, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you.
It's good karma.
There's only two guys picking here, me and you. There were two players that I wanted at the top to build a team around, and I'm just going to take the best player in the league. I'll start my team with Nikola Jokic. Pretty much the best guy, in my opinion, that you can really build around for a multitude of reasons. I mean, it can be your primary playmaker at the center position, which is something that is incredibly unique. He's one of the best scorers in the league in the most efficient fashion. He's an elite rebounder. But of course, his shortcoming would be on the defensive end. So, yeah, I'm going to take Jokic with my first pick. And to me, he's the undisputed best player in the league. But going forward, definitely going to have to address the defensive end of the ball after taking Jokic with my 1-1.
Yeah, and we don't really need to go into how, special of a player Jokic is. I'm sure everybody watching this knows, but really just, I think one of the best primes this sport has ever seen, and just up there with some of the legends. Like, he is just insane, and to the point where it's just like every time I watch this guy, it's like I don't see him make the wrong decision ever. It's like it feels like just getting the ball into Jokic's hands, really nothing can go wrong for your offense. So, you're locked in to be, one of the best offensive units in history for sure when you have him. I mean, the numbers the numbers back it up, man. I mean, when this guy's on the court, the Nuggets are, one of the best offensive teams ever. So
yeah, and we also talked about this team a lot in our Western Conference preview. I mean, Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, of course, and I believe we both predicted that they'd come out of the West this year as well. So that kind of shows how high we are on this team. And that's not even a knock to the Thunder, of course, at all. It's just showing, like, one, it is so incredibly difficult to make it out of a conference 2 consecutive years, especially in that West. I mean, the way this conference is shaking up, like we've said in previous videos, this might be the best NBA conference I've ever seen. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm someone who, when it comes down to the playoffs and big moments, I usually trust the best player on the floor to be able to will their team to the top. So I'm going to start with the best player in the league.
Yeah, can't fault you. And yeah, I think they got a good chance. Jokic, a guy, you just, give him enough shots at it, he'll probably connect again. So good spot. Obviously good pick, but I think I'm actually going to go in a direction that I don't know if you really would have here. I am going to take the reigning Finals MVP. I'm going to start out with SGA here. I think since you're getting kind of clearly the best player in the world right now, I'm going to have to I'm not going to lean in too much to my overall draft strategy and spoil things, but I'm going to have to, create a real identity. And, SGA is a guy who really not a lot of weaknesses in his game. And I'm getting just one of the best on-ball scorers we've seen, especially from the guard position there's been. I mean, this guy is just ridiculous in the way that he is able to, play at his own pace, just consistently get you a bucket on each possession that you needed. It's really just rare. His shot creation and then consistency in the shot making ability. And then he also, can be a positive on the defensive end too when exerting himself. He's, been kind of a borderline all defensive guy his whole career, phenomenal athlete. And he does a can connect an offense too. He can be a good playmaker. Obviously, not to the level that some of these guys in the superstar category are, but I like him as a good all around piece, and I think I'm going to be able to build a nice team around him. So are we gonna snake it so that
yeah, snake it. Sounds good. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with SGA as your first pick. I mean, just won MVP, conference MVP, finals MVP, all in the same season. And is he the first one to do that, if I'm correct? I believe he is, because that's a
Yep.
brand new award, of course, the conference MVP. But yeah, I mean, probably a top 3 player in the league, undisputed right now, or top 4, I guess, depending on who you ask. But just an absolutely elite player on both ends of the court, a guard who can block shots at an elite level, play on-ball defense at an elite level, and was one of the primary anchors to what was the best defense in the league. And then on the flip side, of course, also won a scoring title, and is an incredibly efficient scorer. I know the one shortcoming with SGA might be a little bit of his beyond the arc game, but inside the arc, he is probably the best scorer in the NBA, besides maybe Giannis. But yeah, I mean, just an absolutely elite player and someone that you can make no mistake building a team around, without a doubt.
Yeah, and it's one of the best seasons ever. One of the best guard seasons in recent memory too, for sure.
I mean,
Just
yeah, like off the top of your head, I'm just trying to think of guards that have won a Finals MVP, and like it is a very, very small group. I think, of course, Curry, and then behind that, I mean, I know Tony Parker has one, Isaiah Thomas, but outside of that, there's really not, at least in the modern era of the NBA, there are not many point guards that can say they've walked away with a Finals MVP. Just
yeah,
an
you're
incredible
getting
achievement.
into very rare territory with you got obviously Kobe, Jordan, and then D Wade. I think he's right up there in that conversation coming off of this year. It's it was a special year, but this next pick is really gonna be pretty key to the direction I'm going in, and he might be one of the guys who was just kind of left off of this next this superstar tier. I think he's right in there in conversations with it, but I'm gonna go with Anthony Davis. Yeah, obviously to defend Jokic, I'm gonna need you know, I'm not gonna be able to
Something.
defend Jokic, so I might as well, have my best chance at it. And AD is really that. He's, might be the best I don't know. He's up there with the best two-way players in the league, and is certainly one of the best available. I'm pretty excited for what we get to see with AD last year. He had a nice kind of preview with the Mavs, and just such a dynamic piece on defense, such a great post guy on offense. So I think I'm really locking down setting an identity with these two guys, starting it out.
Yeah, no, that's a great start. We've definitely talked about AD previously, but I'm probably someone that you'll find that's one of the highest possible on Anthony Davis's outlook. I mean, he is one of the best defenders I've ever seen with my two eyes, and the stats definitely back that up as well. And on top of that, he's an incredibly versatile offensive big. You can plug him into a pick and roll or pop, or let him work isolated in the post. So many ways for Anthony Davis to attack and beat you, and in my mind, he's still a no doubt top 10 player in the league.
For sure. Just and I feel like last year we were able to see kind of the shooting come back a little bit too, which is just opens up a whole nother level for AD. And I think he'll probably be at my 5 on this team.
Yeah, I love AD at the 5.
Yeah.
So I have 2 straight picks here. I'm definitely been debating between a couple guys, but for me, I think I want to get Jokic first. I know I'm going to have to address the defense, but first and foremost, I do want to get him someone who I believe would just be the most perfect offensive complement next to someone like him. So with my second pick, I'm going to grab Devin Booker.
I was debating him at that pick because he's just such probably the best off-ball option.
I just think back to the Olympic team and like the way they used him on that team and had so much success. Devin Booker, he may have kind of a bad rap with some NBA fans. I know he's kind of disliked by some, but he's such a selfless player and someone who's willing to do whatever he has to do to win. He's one of the best players without a doubt on that Team USA, or that Olympic team, and he was totally fine to delegate himself to a spot-up shooter role and kind of just plug himself in there, and he excelled at it, and he played great defense on the other end as well. To me, that's just the perfect type of guy to plug in next to Jokic, because very comfortable off the ball, obviously, but can also dominate on the ball if he needs to. Those two in the pick and roll just sounds like an absolute nightmare for anyone to have to deal with as well. And I mean, at the end of the day, Devin Booker is someone who was the primary scorer on a team that did reach it all the way to the finals a couple of years ago with Phoenix. So I have a lot of trust in Booker. I love what he does for an NBA team, and I feel like him and Jokic would be a match made in heaven. Since we're doing a snake, I do have one more pick here. And I think it's definitely time to address the defense, and I'm going to do it in a creative way where this player is an elite defender, but of course he's still incredibly impactful on the offensive end, someone who can do a little bit of everything for me. And I really love him. As I'd probably plug him in as my power forward on this team. I'll see as we keep going, but I'm going to take Jalen J-Dub Williams as my next guy, someone who just made an all-NBA defensive team and was one of the identity players on the Thunder, who were obviously a historic defense, one of the best defenses of all time. You can really plug in J-Dub anywhere. He can play shooting guard, small forward, power forward, all across the court. He can really defend 1 through 5. I'm sure he'd have trouble with some 5s, but I mean, they even played him at the center position this year a little bit, which is crazy. Just
One
an
shot was down.
an incredibly versatile player and a great connector because he's a great playmaker. He's a good rebounder, just someone who can do a little bit of everything. And I love the way he fits on this team with Jokic and Book.
Yeah, he's an awesome piece, and he's kind of like, he can fit. I love how he can kind of fit into any option that you really like. You know, obviously he was just the second option on a championship team, which is, you have to be in pretty great company to be that. But I mean, you can scale him up, scale him down. He's going to do the little things at an elite level every time. And yeah, just that defensive versatility really, really jumps out at you. I thought it was insanely impressive the way he was able to just fill in wherever this team needed throughout the season. Like you said, the small ball 5 stuff was super cool. And on the perimeter is just ridiculous. Had a couple of big steal and transition plays in the finals and leading up to that for sure. So that's pretty ideally the piece you need there. So you have Jokic, Booker, and J-Dub. Wow, man.
Yeah. And for now, I'm going to put Dub at my 4. Another great thing about having him is you can move him around if you need to address that, but we'll see how the rest of my team plays out. I'm going to have, for now, Booker at the 2, J-Dub at the 4, Jokic at the 5.
Damn, man, this becomes a pretty key pick here.
Yeah, these are some important choices here.
And I do have the snake here.
Yeah, you got back to back.
Is gonna be interesting to see what I do. And I think I need some of these connective pieces to start to kick in here. I want to compliment Shea in this backcourt. I need to get some shooting on my team. I'm between a couple of guys right now, but I think I am gonna snag Darius Garland to put at my point. And I loved seeing the coming out party from Darius Garland at the one this year. He was just such an efficient scorer. He can really plug in so many ways and fill in whatever you need to on the offensive end for a guard. He can play make a good amount, but if you have a more ball dominant guy like, you know, Mitchell, sometimes he is also elite off the ball and was just such a good 3-point shooter this year. He has, you know, one of the best handles in the league, in my opinion, just so fast. And I think in a backcourt with Shea here, who's, you know, going to take the lead at times. I think Garland can play amazingly off that and also, you know, create a little for his own. He's going to work great with AD on the pick and roll. I mean, dude, AD with these guards are going to get really involved. So I'm super excited about that pick. Let me just write
Yeah,
that
I
one.
mean, Garland already has a flawless pick and roll with someone like a Jared Allen. So you can only imagine how that would be propelled with the talent of Anthony Davis. I love Darius Garland as well. I love the Cavs team as a whole. Very fun team to watch. But yeah, I like pairing him with Shea mainly for the same reason you said. I mean, he's comfortable playing on and off the ball. And in real life, we see how integral and important that is next to someone like Donovan Mitchell, who needs his time to take over, but can also take a back seat and let DG do his own thing as well. I see a similar dynamic between Shea and Garland here. Of course, Shea's a little bit better than Donovan ultimately, which hurts me to say. That's my guy. But yeah, I mean, he's a flawless point guard, at least on the offensive end of the court, and should be an awesome engine for your offense.
Mm-hmm. And then for this next pick, I'm between two guys here, and I think you might not like the direction that I'm going in because I think I might have to poach one of your guys here and take OG Anunoby at um my wing spot here. I mean, OG is like legitimately one of the most fun perimeter defenders to watch, in my opinion. Like, such a unique, dynamic athlete. Like, and he just will put guys in a box. I've unfortunately had to witness it against, you know, some of my guys and Brown and Tatum, and it's not fun watching your star players have to go up against OG. He's a freak, and I was really impressed with what he was able to add to his offensive game just kind of over the years, and specifically this year he was super great. I think he was up, was he around like 18 points a game or so, which
Yep.
is awesome
About
out of
18 a
him.
game, good efficiency, shot the three well.
When he's shooting
Love
the
that guy.
three well, it makes such a difference. So give me that version of OG that's, you know, shooting at high 30s from three and locking it down, and also can quietly put some pretty serious pressure on the rim. Like, he had some awesome finishes this year. So crazy athlete. I think he's pretty perfect here in the fourth round for what I'm looking for.
Yeah, man, can't say enough good things about OG, and easily the guy I had circled for my next pick. So,
I
um,
figured
I
that's
mean, yeah, I was I was salivating, man, plugging that guy in right next to J Dub and having him, of course, be able to help out Jokic on the defensive end just sounded like a dream. But I'm gonna make myself feel a little bit better here, get a little payback on you, and I'm just gonna
yeah.
take. I mean, it's funny because when you do this type of draft, I feel like there are two guys that are just guaranteed to go at one point, and
These two.
even more so than a Jokic or like a Luka
Hmm,
Doncic. Like Luka Doncic didn't get drafted by us, but without a doubt, you can assure that a player like OG Anunoby and Derek White, who I'm about to
definitely.
select, are going to be taken in a draft like this.
They're
These are
awesome,
just
man.
the two, to me, and probably you too. I'm sure you agree. These are the two best role players in the league, and to me, it's not really close right now. I mean, they're two of the best defenders on ball and off ball in the league, and knockdown shooters who can also provide a little bit like off the dribble action and a little bit for themselves as well. They're the dream player to plug into a lineup. And I mean, ideally, I wanted Devin Booker to be my two guard. I now kind of have just two more so combo guards, which I'm totally fine with. Um,
Yeah.
so I
With
have now,
Jokic, it's completely fine.
yeah. So I have D White and Book, and then I'm gonna have Dub and Jokic. So I have one more pick here.
I think just reflecting on that pick, I was obviously debating between those guys because I think when we get into role player territory, those were obviously going to be the two first guys off the board here. But I think it actually does make a lot of sense, both sides, just fit wise here. I think I needed a little bit more of a wing guy who can, you know, obviously play out there, and then White, I think fits better as, moving J-Dub down to the 3, and then you get White in the backcourt. Just kind of, picking at scraps there. Both guys would have been great picks there. I thought I just maybe needed a little bit more of that wingspan on the perimeter. I think you can definitely live with J-Dub at the 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this next pick, because I selected Derek White here, I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight. I had White circled, definitely a guy I loved. And then since my backcourt is kind of settled now, a guy I would have loved to have on a team with Jokic just sounds like a match made in heaven. I was going to target someone like Lou Dort, but I don't really have room in my backcourt anymore. So I'm going to pivot, and I think I'm going to take Jaden McDaniels for my next pick. And so my starting lineup, I actually am going to shift J-Dub over to the 3. I'm going to have Jaden at the 4. It's going to get confusing, but so my full starting lineup here is Derek White and Booker, and then I have Jalen J-Dub Williams, Jaden McDaniels, and Nikola Jokic. And maybe the one knock for the lineup is outside of Jokic is a little bit small, but man, I just love how dynamic this lineup sounds right now. And to me, the switchability on defense should be able to make up for the lack of size. Jaden McDaniels is, again, one of the best two-way players in the league, and he proved it again in the playoffs this year. One of Anthony Edwards' favorite players, well worth noting. But his jumper has come a very long way, and he's someone who can now pop for 18 or 20 in a game a couple times in a series, and provide a lot of value on that end of the ball. But of course, he makes his money on the defensive end, and that's mainly what I drafted him for. I don't need too much help on the offensive end with the rest of my team's outlook. So I want to plug in Jaden McDaniels. Maybe he can be my main point of attack defender on this team, but I love how he fits in here.
Yeah, and McDaniels 3 coming along, I think, is, one of the best things that could have happened to him. It was never a question of his on-ball defense. He's always been just pretty terrifying in that aspect. We've seen it time and time again in these playoff series. But just pretty perfect guy. Another guy who I kind of expected to, get plugged into one of these teams. But yeah, that brings it back to me where I'm looking at probably Garland at the 1, SGA at the 2, AD I like at the 5, and I'm kind of in a bit of a crunch right now deciding what I want to do. Slide OG to the 4, keep him at the 3, get some more size, or I think I know what I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to go with Trey Murphy here, who, really has kind of like that two-way star ceiling. I mean, he has been one of the more rangy and reliable shooters since really entering the league. And I think last year he really improved on defense. He has like a 7-foot wingspan, and if he can, fit in and play this role a little bit more on this team than necessarily he had to do last year for New Orleans, I think he can be a super valuable connective wing here. So yeah, I love the range. I love the size and a little downhill ability too. I think he's just a super dynamic player here. So let me pencil him in for my spot. And I think I would probably, I don't know. Him and OG can be kind of interchangeable for
Sure,
3
yeah.
and 4 at the wing. OG is obviously going to be my point of attack guy, taking the toughest assignment every time. So man, these are some cool teams. But
Yeah, you got one more there. I wanted to give one more little quip. I love how you took Trey. He's an awesome player. I was heavily also considering his teammate when I took Jaden McDaniels, Herb Jones, just a guy who I
yeah,
always think deserves recognition, especially in this type of setting, because his play style is so fitting for this type of kind of, plug and play, especially point of attack defenders and defensive connectors. But I just did lean to Jaden slightly because of his 3-point improvements. Herb still shows a lot of inconsistency there, so didn't lean to Jaden.
Yeah. And for this next pick, now that we're moving towards the bench, would you say we're kind of maybe tearing down from like these elite role players more to the like solid contributors category? I
Yeah,
feel like
I'd say
that
that's fair.
makes a lot more sense. And let me think, for the bench, what do I want? Um, there's, I feel like coming off the bench, I need some scoring is typically what you look for on these units, and I think a guy who kind of fits and plugs into that perfectly is Cam Johnson. Just as another awesome connective piece we saw last year that he can really run it up. He averaged almost 20, is one of the most efficient 3-point shooters in the league, and is a very solid defender at the same time. So, I mean, you can probably start to see the trend really with these like 3-and-D wings. You cannot get enough of them. These guys are just so valuable to stretch out, especially when you have guys like Garland and SGA and AD, just to fill it out with. So I'm going to continue that trend and yeah, roll with
Yeah.
Cam Johnson here.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Jokic's newest teammate out in Denver. We touched a little bit on that multiple times, I believe, one in our Western Conference video and then in our first video talking about the winners and losers of the offseason. Yeah, Cam Johnson, as soon as we saw that move, we definitely dubbed Denver a winner. I saw this very funny clip recently of it was kind of comparing um, Cam Johnson in a podcast setting versus who they departed with, Michael Porter. And it was showing Cam Johnson, very professional. He was in the podcast setting with JJ Redick, and he was breaking down JJ's jumper to a T, like just kind of showing his basketball knowledge and his understanding of the game in a very impressive fashion. And then you pivot, you slide over, and you see Michael Porter, and he's talking about like the gambling stuff with like his brother or something, and like
he's
think about it, guys.
kind
Like,
of on a crazy run with his
yeah,
podcasts.
he's been on a crazy run this summer. I think kind of comes with the job when you're going to Brooklyn. But yeah, just a very funny dynamic there between the two of them, kind of mentality wise, and we've
Have
touched
you
on that as well. But
have you
yeah,
seen the video of MPJ getting his car towed?
yes, and he is so funny. Like
He gets himself into some weird situations between that and the I think it was on some like porn stars podcast. It's just
yeah, and I mean he's been hanging out with like streamers. Like I can't put a name on them, but it's just funny seeing him in that setting. Oh, he might have been chilling with like Nelk or something like that, but just a funny thing to see from a professional athlete.
for sure.
Is it back to
Yeah,
me here?
back to you now.
Yeah. So a couple guys I'm thinking of here. I'm definitely considering a couple Pacers, but I am biased against that team right now. I'm still pretty upset with them. So I think I'm going to side with a guy that I love in a similar fashion to who you drafted. A little bit of a different player, but similar idea. I'm going to go with Tumani Kamara. Just a guy whose game I really fell in love with this year when I watched Portland. And we've touched on him again before, but just someone who was an afterthought when he was traded over to Portland, I believe involved in the Dame trade. And he's become the most important piece for them in that trade and a catalyst for their new defensive identity. So that's just a guy that I would love to be able to bring off the bench, bring energy to the team, bring another dynamic defender to the team, a point of attack defender, and someone I just feel good about also plugging in at multiple different positions. And he's still a young player with room to grow as well. So I feel good about Kamara.
Yeah. I think Kamara is up there with OG for most entertaining defenders to watch for sure. He just seriously like such a lengthy guy, super charged athlete. He's a big part of this Portland rebuild, and yeah, I like the pick. I think you have another one up next.
Yeah, I have one more here. A couple guys I'm deciding between, but
It's
I
tough in
think
real time,
no, yeah, it really is. But
especially in
I,
this kind of role player heaven territory where
yeah, no, there's a lot of great choices here. So at least I'm thinking I can't really go wrong.
mhm.
I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking of two different ways I can pivot right now. One, I still want to get a solid backup big for Jokic. I think that's an important thing to have, and especially a defensive-minded big, because as we know, that's kind of Jokic's shortcoming there. But two, I still need a one of the prototypical six men, someone who can come off the bench, provide an offensive spark.
Mm-hmm.
But I think first I'm going to address that center need. I'm going to grab Daniel Gafford, someone who's been a very quality backup in the past, of course, for Dallas, and someone who I trust to just come in, provide a solid 15 to 20 minutes, catch a couple lobs, block some shots, and provide some strong interior defense and rim protection, which is just a very solid dynamic when you have someone like Jokic on the court for 35, 40 minutes a night. So I'm going to pick up Gafford here and feel good about him as my backup center.
Yeah, Gafford's like one of the most athletic guys in the league, I'd say for sure. So can't go wrong with that. And yeah, the thought of him and Jokic, I mean, if he had that setup, that would be awesome for him.
Well, he had DeAndre Jordan for a while, so definitely better than that.
I mean, I guess he's in the he's got Valanciunas now. He locked in for the season, so good for him, I guess,
Nice European front court.
But yeah, I guess that throws it back to me here for my second guy off the bench, right? And I'm a snake too, so I
You could do two more. Let's go. We can go 9 deep. Sounds good. Get a nice solid rotation.
Yeah. Okay. So I agree with you when I'm thinking about the bench. I'm immediately kind of thinking about these, scoring, playmaking guys who can run my second unit. Which is it's a pretty cool role in the NBA, and I think I need a cool player for that. So you're another player you're gonna get mad about, but I am gonna take Emmanuel quickly here, as kind of my floor general for this 6-man unit. I think he can, handle the ball really as well as I will need him to, and he just provides a lot of spark in the form of those pull-up threes and just those floaters. He's, really that he's maybe even a little juiced up because he's at this point maybe more in that starting caliber range. He obviously is a starter for Toronto, but he was really kind of that spark plug off the bench, kind of the best you could ask for in that role. So I know he was probably on your board, unfortunately,
Definitely. Definitely. Good pick. I mean, I'll never hate on IQ. That's I wanted to pick him. I mean, he's one of my favorite players still. When he was with the Knicks, he really was my favorite Knick. I mean, just a very fun and player and someone I feel like is still underrated. Overall, I hope he can string together a fully healthy season in Toronto, because I truly do think we can see some amazing things out of him if he does. A couple things I love about IQ. One, very underrated on the defensive end. He has a long wingspan, and he's someone who's not afraid to sit down on that end, and he showed a lot of that more so when he was with the Knicks. I feel like maybe the defense took a step back this past season with Toronto, but he can still be elite upside-wise on that end, and that's not even the best part of his game. He's a great shooter. He has a great float game, good pick-and-roll guard, just really a great all-around guard. Love Emmanuel quickly.
Yeah, I think he'll be a great distributor and scorer for this unit. And I'm gonna go with a big here. Do you think Hartenstein is in this category, or is he kind of towards more of the starting level? I mean, I know he
You could go either way. Yep. I wouldn't be mad at Hartenstein here.
It's tough. I think he is a little bit on that bordering level of maybe too good for the bench. I think considering he was damn near a full-time starter for the championship team this year. So I think to pivot off of that, I might go with
Yeah, with big man, it's tough. Like there's definitely a pretty steep drop off at one point.
Yeah, it's that's pretty. Duran? Is Duran too good for the
I'd
bench
consider him
unit?
to be he could be a bench type of guy. I mean, he's a
Hey, I
starter
mean,
for
he's
Detroit, obviously, but I mean, he definitely has some shortcomings to his game. He's still a very solid player, but I wouldn't consider him necessarily someone who has to be a locked-in starter.
yeah. I think I'll go with him. Just because there are, some holes, especially. I mean, as I think about it now, I don't really want to poke too many holes in him, but I guess for his case to be a bench player, like he isn't necessarily the most like equipped defender. He can sometimes be kind of taken advantage, especially if you get him in the pick and roll a little bit. And obviously, he isn't too crazy of a scorer, but he is. I keep mentioning these athletes. He is one of the crazier athletes in the league, and just you can see that when he goes onto the boards. He is pretty ridiculous. Has some pretty nasty putback dunks too and stuff. He is kind of a highlight reel in that fashion and a pretty good finisher. So he's kind of just what you expect from like your bench big. Maybe isn't the most fluent, lights out, field defender, but just kind of a big body that can get you rebounds, can, function as a rim protector, and is, going to do the easy stuff for me. So I think he kind of fills in the role of bench big pretty well.
Yeah, no, he most definitely does. He definitely uh, had some solid moments in the playoffs against the Knicks, and I do agree that mainly his shortcomings do come on the defensive end. I feel like he needs to be a little bit more disciplined there. He is someone I feel like I see jumps a lot. Maybe he should stay planted a little bit. He's a big guy, right? Just put your hands up and trust the wingspan. But yeah, Duran is definitely a very solid big and someone
The,
who's still getting better too. I mean, he's only 23, 24. So
he's young. He might only be like 21.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
He came into the league very, very young. No, the other guy I was considering was another one of your boys. I was looking at Mitch Robinson because he kind of is that what you think of when you think of bench big, but can't take too many Knicks now. Come on.
Hey, I wouldn't fault you for it. So circling back to me, these are my final two picks here. Yeah, I would have loved to grab IQ here. So you're a dick for that, definitely. Yeah, he's the ideal bench guard, but there's someone else here that I've had on my mind that I definitely love as a kind of that 6-man spark plug type of guy. Just going to quickly run through my lineup again in case anyone did forget. Right now I have Derek White and Book in the backcourt with Jalen J. Williams, Jaden McDaniels, and Jokic as my starters. Off the bench so far, I have Tumani Kamara and Daniel Gafford. And I'm going to round out my bench with two pieces. One, my 6-man spark plug that I've been needing. I'm going to take Colin Sexton, someone who I feel like has almost been a little bit left behind by the NBA recently. I'm excited to see what he can do for Charlotte this year because that's actually the exact role that he's going to be in. He's going to be presumably their 6-man. And this is someone who's averaged 20 points a game before in the NBA. So I feel very comfortable plugging him into that role. He plays with a lot of energy and fire, which is something that I would look for out of my bench spark, someone to get the guys going and provide a rally. And yeah, someone I feel good about plugging in for 20, 25 minutes to come in and do their thing. And then for my last guy, someone that I've just loved watching all year and has shown so much improvement in his game. He's now the best, if you ask me, he's the best A. Wiggins in the league. I'm going to grab Aaron Wiggins to round out my bench. And I like this a lot because he's someone who can do a little bit of everything. He had a 40-point game this past season, which might have flown under the radar to a lot of guys. I mean, he's just someone who I think provided a little more opportunity could really just take off. And obviously, it's tough to come by in Oklahoma City because it's such a talented team front to back. But he still has shown his moments throughout the year, and that's exactly what I would want from him on my very talented roster here.
Yeah, that's a pretty great two picks there. Sexton, I still don't know how that trade went through. That just felt
Crazy.
wrong to me, but he had some pretty awesome years in Cleveland. I remember Sexland was a
Good time.
inspiring time for many Cleveland fans. Yeah, I mean, I love what he can do, especially since he's kind of developed his outside game. He's always been a guy who can put pressure on the rim too. So that's awesome. And I didn't catch. I was writing down the guys. Who'd you say was? Oh, it was Wiggins, right?
Aaron Wiggins, yeah.
Yeah. He is a guy who, I mean, if you see him in an upscaled role, I think he could seriously start to emerge as more of like a role player, starting level caliber type of guy. So that's a good one for sure. And I still have one more pick, right? This is
yeah, you have your last pick.
My last spot. So yeah, on my bench right now. I have IQ, Johnson, and Duran. I think I definitely want kind of like a defensive enforcer to, just headline this unit and kind of continue my team identity here. And I think the best guy to do that in this range of player would probably be Ausar Thompson. He is like his brother, like my team is just kind of full of rangy athletes, and Ausar is one of the biggest examples of that. Um, he might not be necessarily up to the level of his brother, Amen, on offense and in terms of handling the ball and creating his own shot and knocking those down so far. But I mean, Ausar, I think, is pretty much like at least 90%, 95% of what Amen is on defense. And, he might even have a little more length in terms of a wing defender. He battled the blood clots early last year too. I'm kind of excited to see what he develops into for this young Detroit team. Yeah, I feel pretty good about how that rounds out my bench in terms of defense and just athletic potential. And I think I have a lot of that kind of athletic build across my team. So if I'm gonna list out my team one last time, the starting lineup, I have Garland at the 1, SGA at the 2, Trey Murphy at the 3, OG at the 4, AD at the 5. Then on my bench, I have IQ leading that unit, Cam Johnson maybe leading the scoring on that unit. I have Ausar, being a sticky defender all across that unit, and Duran to board, clean up, and just be my bench big. Yeah, super
Nice.
happy with this team.
Yeah, that's an awesome team.
I think we built some pretty cool lineups here. If we just want to do like a quick little pitch for our team, and why we like it.
Yeah. Just touching back to your last pick for Ausar, especially the reason why I like that pick is because I didn't draft Jalen Brunson, who he can't guard. So I think at least everyone else, yeah, he should have a great chance against. But yeah, I'll run through.
Guard that man. I do have to say,
very true. I'll
especially
run
in the
lineup.
fourth quarter.
Yeah, yes, sir. One last time, like you did, I'll just quickly run through my roster. Starting backcourt, I have Derek White and Devin Booker. Moving down, Jalen Williams at the 3, Jaden at the 4, kind of interchangeable there, and then rounded out with Nikola Jokic. And then bringing up off the bench, likely I would put Sexton as my 6th man for the reasons I previously stated, and then backed up by my defensive enforcer off the bench, Tumani Kamara, and Daniel Gafford as my backup big man, and then Aaron Wiggins in the 9 spot. So yeah, if I'm going to make, I guess, a pitch for my team, first of all, like I said, when I start with Jokic, I really wanted to address defense soon after that, and I think I did a great job of that throughout the starters. Derek White, Jaden McDaniels, and Jalen Williams are all NBA defense caliber talents, and I feel like with their skill and versatility, it should be plenty to be able to mask Nikola Jokic's shortcomings on that end. I would even like to say Devin Booker is definitely a capable perimeter defender. Is he a standout perimeter defender among the rest of my personnel here? Definitely not, but that's not his role, right? His role on my team is more so the secondary star. someone who is going to be able to flawlessly play off of the superstar Jokic and hopefully average an efficient 27 around him while providing some great playmaking at the same time. And then if I want to dive into the bench, Colin Sexton, like I said, coming off, going to provide the spark, hopefully give us a nice 15 to 18 a game on some solid efficiency. Tumani Kamara can be someone who's plug and played in multiple different scenarios as a point of attack defender and can really play shooting guard, small forward, or power forward at the same time. Still a young player, someone who is also rising as well. And then Daniel Gafford is someone who will be able to come in, provide some relief to Jokic, and also provide a different dynamic to Jokic as someone who's more of a pick and roll lob threat, which Jokic is not. And then lastly, Aaron Wiggins, someone else who can come in and even in 10 to 15 minutes make a grand difference in multiple areas of the game, whether it's on defense, if he's scoring a nice 10 points in a quarter, five, or like a nice run like that. And yeah, really just stringing everything together with that second unit. So feeling good about this team.
Yeah, it's an awesome team. Given Jokic, Booker, White, and Williams to work off ball of him is pretty dastardly, I do have to say. I mean, just the thought of Jokic and Derek White on the same team kind of makes me a little
Match made in heaven.
weak in the knees. That is just a basketball fan's, wildest dream. And Booker too. I mean, Booker is, if you're going to create a star that's, kind of made to play with Jokic, it's Booker. Like that is just, that's ridiculous.
Is that a good word for Booker?
Absolutely. Just, I'd say like, I mentioned this earlier, but like of all the real like star players in the NBA, he might be the best off ball option.
Yeah, man.
Aside from Curry,
he's fairly underrated in my opinion still, and that's like kind of a main reason for it as well. I mean, he's not someone who needs the ball in their hands to be successful, which many superstars do. Not saying that's a bad thing, but yeah, man, Devin Booker is incredible.
Could certainly make a strong argument. He's like the most portable star in the league, especially when, like you mentioned, he can, kind of hold up on defense. And I love the strides he's made as a playmaker too. So he's like pretty much if you took the Jamal Murray version of the Jokic combination and just injected it with more than steroids and consistency too, a little bit of size. But yeah, I mean, I love how the other two guys just are going to be pests in your lineup as well. Dub and McDaniels, just awesome connective pieces. And then, yeah, the bench is super well built too. I'm weirdly excited about our bench units.
I think we had cool. Very similar philosophies with the bench, and I mean, it just kind of shows where our head's at. You like some dynamic playmakers on the bench. You like guys that can come in and provide a spark, and someone that can just be kind of a different dynamic and a different type of player to your starting guy. So yeah, it's a very, very cool thing to run through.
They're both our benches are built out very similarly with Quickly and Sexton being kind of the general, Cam Johnson and Wiggins being our, scoring wings guys, and then Asar and Kamara the defensive focus. Durant and Gafford is the athletic bigs, but it's pretty cool to see. But
great minds thinking like
for sure. But if we want to talk about my team, which is a great team, we started out with SGA. Obviously, is the foundation of my team. Who I think when you draft SGA, it's obviously what you're getting, but that the offense is largely gonna revolve around him getting to his spots and just being a consistent unit that can always rely on him doing his thing. And then he obviously works in the second unit, but I think, getting AD to add another wrinkle is that pick and roll possibility for SGA, and Garland on offense is just ridiculous. He also just, provides some of the best post offense in the league and can also obviously do a little bit of his own thing, and will certainly have the freedom with the spacing that he has on this team. So, I mean, AD alone on the block when he's surrounded by a lineup like this is pretty scary to imagine, not just the 2-man game to work with SGA. I mean, he's a superstar in his own right. And I think Garland is, the third option and a guy who can just, I mean, he fits so well off the ball here, is going to definitely be able to provide some of the range that maybe my top two guys aren't known for, although they both can, step out from time to time. And SGA really came a long way with the three this past season. I think it's almost kind of past the point where he's, a guy
he's
who
shooting
needs
them
to
off
be.
the dribble now.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's that. And I mean, I love the way that Garland can, fill in as a secondary ball handler on this unit too. Him playing off of all this attention that these other guys is going to get is just pretty scary, and just adding, elite efficiency plug into the scoring going to be awesome. Also pushing the pace with this team would be awesome, because the other two guys in my starting lineup can certainly do that. Two pretty awesome athletes. OG was the next guy I took, who OG is, exactly what you're getting there. Perfect, 3-and-D player, but he's also going to put a lot of rim pressure, which is going to be open for this team. And Trey Murphy, a lot of the same things, but gives me that range, and a lot of other fun stuff. And hopefully he takes, more of a defensive minded role on this unit, and connects it out. I feel awesome about this team. I broke down my bench a little bit. I think we two pretty well matched teams. I think they're I
want to take them over to 2K now. It'd be fun.
It'd be awesome.
But,
did you get the new 2K?
I did not yet, man. I mean, anyone watching this as well, feel free to comment down below if you're liking the new game. I've actually heard some new good things about it so far, but
this is the time of year where that happens,
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure maybe one more negative
Ronnie
in
2K
the next
is
month or so.
Spreading his propaganda.
That's it.
Nah, I haven't been on 2K in a while, but just so you guys know, I mean, we had some pretty awesome memories running the park in 2K.
Man, you guys did not want to see us circa 2K 18, 19, 20, 17. Those games are great.
Scary times.
Let us know, though, if you might be into that content. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate hopping back on if that'd be something people would want to see. It would be a lot of fun.
Yep, lowball Twitch.
Yeah, man.
That'd be sweet. But yeah, I think this was a super fun exercise.
Yeah, this was great. Like I said, it also gives the viewer like an insight into how we think too, which I love. Because there's so many different ways you can go about building a team. And at the end of the day, I almost feel lazy, like starting off with Jokic. It's so fun to build around a guy like that. I'd be happy to start with someone like Giannis too, and see where I could take it from there. But
could build awesome teams out of any of those superstar guys that we listed.
For sure,
Wemby would have been a fun one too. But yeah, if we want to talk a little bit about tomorrow before we get out of here, because it is football Sunday tomorrow. We got a full slate of games again, and then actually we got a doubleheader on Monday with two pretty interesting games.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize there were two Monday games. I knew the Bucks-Texans game was Monday, but see the Chargers now too. That's cool.
Yeah.
If I'm just taking a quick look at this slate here, are there any games to you that stick out that you have circled at least for maybe importance or like a must-watch game?
One game that I think is going to be pretty cool to watch tomorrow is going to be Colts-Broncos. We saw the Colts jump out to a pretty intriguing start to the year in dominant fashion, blowing out the Dolphins. And now pretty much the best way to test this offense that looked so good in week one is to throw them up against the best defense. So I think we're going to find a lot about who the Colts really are, if they are this dominant team coming into last year. I mean, Daniel Jones looked pretty great in his debut, but a lot of it was also, kind of built out for him. I wouldn't say he had to make too many difficult tight window throws against that Dolphins secondary. But I don't think that'll be the case against the Broncos. He's definitely going to have to make a couple more high leverage throws in this one. And yeah, while the line held up pretty well against the Dolphins, who do have a pretty great pass rush, it'll be pretty interesting to see if they can continue that against another great unit in the Broncos, especially seeing if they can, continue to establish that run game. And then for the Broncos, it's like you're coming off a very iffy, questionable week one where Bo Nix, for one, looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. You're going to want to, prove that you can right the ship here and become this team that you were last year and, take the step that everyone was projecting here. I mean, this is going to be a much tougher game for Bo Nix. I do think Lou Anarumo and the Colts are going to draw up a pretty interesting game plan for that. Lou is known for, switching things up each week and trying to confuse the quarterback. There's a lot you can throw at Bo Nix. And we'll have to see how he handles it. And I think it's going to say a lot about both teams, because the Broncos are a team that kind of just barely squeaked by, playing one of the worst teams in the league, and the Colts are a team that, got a blowout, but we don't know how good the team they blew out was.
Yeah, this should be, I guess, maybe a great test for Daniel Jones to kind of say, hey, you just had one of the best games of your career. Can you prove if that was legit now? So that should be definitely an interesting game there. One game that I kind of have circled here, I don't know, it's just a very interesting matchup to me is the Bengals versus the Jaguars. I feel like that could be it could be an explosive offensive game, which could be a lot of fun. I know it's a couple teams that kind of had some slow starts throughout the years, but let's see if Lawrence can connect with Brian Thomas. I know they had a very rocky start last week. Let's see if Travis Hunter can build on his first game. And let's see if the Bengals can look anything like themselves after what was a very disappointing week one, albeit they got the win. But, it was still a very shaky offensive performance from their standards. So I'm curious to see what type of adjustments both these teams made over the course of the week and how they attack each other.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most unpredictable matchups of the week, I would say, especially because I feel like with both teams, we don't really know what we have here in either of them. Like the Bengals, obviously known for their slow starts. So what version of them are we going to get? Hopefully not the version that we saw last week that struggled against the Browns. And then the Jaguars, they played well against the Panthers, but it almost felt to me a little bit more like it was indicative of the Panthers more so than the Jaguars. So they're getting a solid test here. What I want to see from the Jaguars is if Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas can get on the same page,
Exactly.
because
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, we haven't seen that quite yet.
And even dating back to last year, right? Most of Brian Thomas's big weeks came with Mac Jones. So let's see if these two can get on the same page and do it consistently.
Yeah, and if they do, this one should be some offensive fireworks for sure.
I have a question for you. Do you see any world where the Ravens do not cover their 11.5 line versus the Browns this week?
I thought you were going to say the Ravens lose, and I was going to say no. There's no world that I see the Ravens losing. 11.5.
Yeah,
I do think they're going to probably have to take their anger out on these guys after last week. I don't think they're going to leave a lot up to chance.
To me, that seems like such a kind spread, but maybe
it's a pretty huge spread though for the week 2.
Yeah.
Definitely the biggest of the week, but I wouldn't be betting on the Browns to cover it. I guess that's what I'd say. The Browns defense looked pretty promising, but they
also got the week 1 Bengals.
Yeah, I don't think the Ravens offense is really going to have much of a problem with this unit.
You know what else is actually a fun game? Ben Johnson's return to Detroit. That should be fun.
That's an interesting one for sure. Two teams that we kind of left week 1 having maybe more questions about than we would have thought. For the Bears, I mean, going into that, maybe we would have thought, but after the start of the game, I don't think I would have thought that I left the game with that many questions. And for the Lions, they just, didn't quite look like themselves. So the Ben Johnson Bowl will be super, super interesting to watch. And that's another one that I think can really go either way. 6.5 for Detroit feels pretty steep, to be honest. I think that'll be a close game.
This should be a close game. Yeah.
But the big one for tomorrow, I think that everyone kind of has circled and is talking about, is the Super Bowl rematch, of course.
And it looks like Worthy's going to be out tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they rolled him out today. So Mahomes really does not have too much to work with. Obviously, we saw the Eagles have their way with this team, I don't know how many months ago. Was it like 7 or 8 months ago? So I mean, the Chiefs, looking at them right now, going into the year, you probably were hoping that they'd be in a better position going into this game to get some rematch than possible. And I kind of do wish a little bit that this rematch was pushed a little bit down the NFL calendar, because especially in the Chiefs' sake, they're coming in pretty beat up. Seems pretty off of their game, but a lot of those guys who made a difference in the Super Bowl last year, and Sweat and Milton Williams, aren't going to be there for the Eagles. And I don't know, obviously you can't count the Chiefs out. I do think Mahomes feels like the type of guy who's going to rise to the occasion in a game like this, and it's going to be a close game. But, it certainly is an uphill battle for the Chiefs here. They're pretty outmatched at pretty much every position other than quarterback. I mean, genuinely looking up and down the rosters, what position are the Chiefs better at than the Eagles other than quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know if I could give you one. And I mean,
I don't think there is one.
It's interesting because, I mean, the spread is like dead even. It's Eagles -1.5 tomorrow. So, sports books seem to be predicting a close game. We'll see if that comes to fruition. It is in Kansas City, so maybe that bodes well for them. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. The Eagles seem like a far more talented team coming into this game tomorrow.
For sure. And I guess we'll have to see. And we're planning on breaking those down on Monday. So I would speak a little bit on the two Monday night games, because those are two super interesting games, in the Bucks versus the Texans and the Chargers versus the Raiders. But we'll probably do a little bit of a preview on those probably at the end of the episode, similar to this for that then. But other than that, any other thoughts you have before we get out of here?
Not too much else. I think we covered a lot of great stuff today. Again, guys, if you did stick with us to the end here, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, anything you liked, anything you didn't, anything you want to see us cover going forward. This has been a blast. Just a little recap, of course, we covered the Monday and Thursday games, did an awesome draft, and then a little bit of a preview here. So looking forward to watching some great football tomorrow, and we'll report back to you on Monday.
Thanks, guys.